Alright, welcome back to Move the Chains. It has been a solid week since my last episode. My excuse is I've been sick. I've been feeling a little sick. Definitely haven't been feeling like coming on camera and talking. Um, a lot to cover today though. Next week, first of all, not next week, but in a couple weeks I'll probably be having my wisdom teeth out soon. So I'm sure that's gonna be fun. But I'm not even gonna try to make episodes until I can, until I'm fully recovered, obviously, because you don't want to see me with a bunch of like freaking gauze in my mouth and swelled up face. So I'm not even gonna attempt that. We got a lot to cover today. It is 12:30 p.m. on Sunday of Conference Championship weekend. So I'm gonna be giving my predictions, obviously, and then I'm gonna be giving my thoughts and reactions to the Steelers hiring Mike McCarthy. Um, if I was making this video last night, it would have been one of the wildest crash outs ever. But I have calmed down. I got a good night's sleep. And it's not the worst thing in the world. And I'm going to explain my reasoning as to why I believe that. But anyways, without further ado, let's get into it with the conference championship predictions. Patriots Broncos is going to be the first one. It starts up at 3 o'clock. Kind of a weird conference championship weekend. I haven't been super excited for it because I wanted some really good like quarterback matchups. And if Bo Nix was playing, I would be a lot more excited about it. I'm getting more on board like with the Sam Darnold hype train for the NFC Championship against Stafford, and that game should be really good. This game has me worried because my initial thought is that the Patriots are going to take care of business, especially with Jarrett Stidham playing. If Bo Nix plays, well, obviously he's not, but if Bo Nix was playing, I would be on the Broncos. I would take the Broncos. But I just don't see it happening, and I really want to pick Denver. I do. Also, I'd like before we even start, I want to cover something. I went 0 for 4 in the divisional round. I missed all 4 games prediction wise. So it was not a good week last week, and I have to recover from it. So everything to me is pointing to the Patriots getting a win, and it is fun to root. I will be rooting for Denver just because the Jarrett Stidham story would be really fun if he can beat the team that drafted him in 2019. If he can beat them in the conference championship, that would be sick, and I would love to see that happen. I would love to see Jarrett Stidham ball out today. I just don't think it's going to happen. I really don't. I really hope it does. I do. I just don't. I obviously just don't think it will. I haven't been sold on the Patriots offense really because against the Texans, CJ Stroud was just giving him great field position like every other drive. So the Patriots offense still worries me, especially against the Denver defense. So it will be close, but I just don't think Stidham's ready. I think he'll make mistakes. I think he'll make a crucial mistake at the end to lose Denver the game. They may be down 4, need a touchdown, and he may throw a pick. I could see that happening. I could see the Patriots defense bailing them out. And that's how I think it's going to go. I'm just not sold on the Patriots. And anyone who comes out of the AFC is just going to get beat by the NFC team in the Super Bowl in 2 weeks anyways. So let's be for real. Like, it's not. None of these teams, the Patriots or the Broncos, are not beating either of the Seahawks or the Rams. So it's going to be a Seahawks-Rams Super Bowl title this year. I've never been more confident about anything in my life. Please don't make me eat my words. Please. If Denver goes on like a Nick Foles-esque run, I would love to see it as a fan of football, but my predictions would take a hit because I am picking the Patriots in a close game today. And it'll be fun. I think I obviously will be watching it. It'll be a good game. I'm looking forward to watching it more now than I was a week ago when the Bo Nix news came out. So I'm ready for it. I'm hoping it's a good game. I do think the Patriots will win. I hope the Broncos win though. Seahawks Rams, I honestly don't know which way to go with it. I really don't. I really liked the Rams during the regular season, and then they kind of had that late season collapse that everyone has talked about. But they're looking pretty good in the playoffs. They went into Chicago, into the cold, and they took care of business. in a crazy game, which Caleb Williams is a superstar in the league. Okay, he's the best quarterback to come out of that draft class. I don't care what anyone says. So the Rams, they're good right now, and they've made it to the conference championship game. So you have a chance to go out there, but it's in Seattle. It's at night, and there's something about this Seahawks team that I think they're destined to win. They feel like the Indiana, of college football. It feels that way to me. They're got a bunch of dogs, a bunch of like their coach is bought in. Their coach is a dog. Like, I just don't think anyone beats Seattle. And again, I think it'll be a shootout. Maybe, I just don't know. The one thing for me is I don't know if I trust Darnold in a game-winning drive situation. And I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. But, I guess we'll see tonight. Because that's probably going to be the position that they're going to put him in. Unless the Seattle defense just dominates the Rams, which I don't see that happening. I do see Matthew Stafford keeping it competitive and keeping it close, and may even have the lead in a couple times in the fourth quarter. Do I trust Darnold enough to go lead a game-winning drive? I would say no, personally, but I still think they win. That doesn't make sense. I just think that they're the team of destiny. I think the Seattle Seahawks will win the Super Bowl, and I am going to pick them, obviously, to beat the Rams in the conference championship game. I think both games are going to be really close, and I think both are going to be really fun to watch. So I'm definitely looking forward to that, obviously. But I do want to switch gears here and talk about the Steelers hiring Mike McCarthy. Yesterday when the news broke, I was crashing out pretty much the entire day. I was really upset. And I don't think it was because of Mike McCarthy specifically. I think it was mostly to do with, like, I don't know why we hired him so quick, because you could have waited until Shula was available, because no one was going after McCarthy. And that's for whatever reason. I guess we'll figure that out when next season starts. You could have waited the 2 weeks or the week or whatever until Shula is available to be interviewed. And you could have interviewed him. And then if you picked McCarthy, I'd still be upset, but I wouldn't be as upset about it. Instead, they just jumped the gun completely, which doesn't make any sense to me, and they hired McCarthy. So that's the reality of it. And I was upset because I really wanted Shula. I think that's mostly why. I wasn't directed at McCarthy. I don't think McCarthy sucks. And the thing with I've said this, and I have said this before, that McCarthy is the white Mike Tomlin. And while that may be true, he's going to be forced to make some changes, at least at the beginning. Because the thing with Tomlin, I would have been fine with keeping him on as the head coach if he would have fired the coordinators, because that's definitely what needed to have happened. And he just wouldn't do that. It took him a long time to fire Canada, and we all knew how bad he was. So Tomlin wasn't going to fire Austin, our defensive coordinator, and that's why he had to go. If he had fired both the coordinators and brought in two good coordinators, I would have been fine with Tomlin staying on. He just wasn't going to do that. So he stepped down, and now McCarthy is, as far as like resume goes, he's similar to Tomlin, but he's an offensive-minded guy, and he's had some of the best offenses in the league. So if he hires a really good defensive coordinator, I think the Steelers will be good next year. If he builds a roster up and is able to develop a quarterback or keep Rodgers on, which I'm not sure how I feel about on that. I'll have to talk about that more next week. I haven't really thought about that as much as I wanted to before making this video. But if he hires a good defensive coordinator, I think we'll be okay. I think that's what it comes down to, because the offense will be okay with McCarthy. McCarthy's the offensive play caller, if I remember correctly. I think he was that in Dallas and in Green Bay, which it's gonna be new to have a head coach be the offensive play caller. So I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see the Steelers with more of an offensive-minded head coach. I am very excited to see that. I'm worried about who their next defensive coordinator is. If McCarthy decides to keep Austin on, it's an unserious franchise, and that's a joke, and it's a slap in the face to every Steeler fan. So that's the way I see it. I think it really comes down to the defensive coordinator hire. I'm worried that they'll just keep Austin on, and I'm gonna be upset, and I'm gonna be really upset. But and yeah, we didn't get Shula, and it sucks. But I mean, who knows? This it's still a fresh it's still a change of pace because he's not the same as Tomlin. He's offensive minded, and things will be different this year. Um, at least I hope so. So I'm really looking forward to seeing who the next DC will be, and that's going to be the next step in this process that I'm worried about. So that kind of depends on how I feel about Mike McCarthy. Because if Mike McCarthy decides to keep Austin on, then I'm not going to like that at all. But if he decides to fire Austin and hire somebody else on, I will not be upset about that. I would be, I'd be open minded to this whole situation. That's what it depends on for me, at least. So that's my thoughts on it. I will give a more in-depth breakdown of it next week, probably, and we'll see what happens with the conference championships today, and I'll be breaking those down on Monday morning. So that's going to be the next episode. I will see you guys then. Sorry about the delay, but we're back. I'll be back on Monday.